Have you ever stood at the checkout counter and felt that little surge of panic when you see the total? You're buying the exact same groceries you bought last month, maybe even less. But somehow, the number keeps climbing higher and higher. Most people blame inflation. They blame the grocery stores. They blame the government. And sure, those things play a role. But here's what nobody talks about. The real reason groceries keep getting pricier has almost nothing to do with what's happening in the economy. It has everything to do with what's happening inside your shopping cart. Here at Simple Money, we've analyzed thousands of grocery receipts. We've talked to families who swear they're spending more but buying less. And we've discovered something fascinating. The grocery bill crisis isn't really about prices going up. It's about something far more insidious that most people never notice. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 hidden forces that are actually draining your grocery budget. And once you see them, you'll never shop the same way again. Here's what's really happening when you walk into a grocery store. You think you're in control. You've got your list. You know what you need. You're just going to grab the essentials and get out. But the moment you step through those automatic doors, you've entered a psychological battlefield, and you're losing before you even realize the game has started. Think about it this way. Grocery stores aren't designed to help you save money. They're designed by psychologists, data scientists, and marketing experts whose sole job is to make you spend more. Every shelf placement, every price tag color, every smell pumping through the ventilation system is calculated to override your rational decision-making. The average American family now spends over $8,000 a year on groceries. That's up from about $6,000 just 5 years ago. Most people see that increase and think it's purely inflation. Eggs cost more. Milk costs more. Everything costs more. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're spending 30% more on groceries, and food prices have gone up 15%, where's the other 15% going? It's not going to higher prices. It's going to psychological manipulation that makes you buy things you never intended to purchase. Let me show you exactly how this works. The first force I call the perimeter illusion. You've probably heard the advice to shop the perimeter of the store. That's where all the fresh, healthy, unprocessed foods are, right? The produce section, the meat counter, the dairy aisle. Here's what makes this advice so dangerous. Grocery stores know you've heard this too, so they've weaponized it against you. The perimeter is now filled with premium products at premium prices. That artisan bread bakery that fills the air with the smell of fresh croissants? It's not there by accident. That organic produce section with the rustic wooden displays and the misting system? Pure theater. Those pre-marinated meats and ready-to-cook meal kits at the butcher counter? Convenience traps. The psychology here is brilliant. You feel virtuous shopping the perimeter. You're being healthy. You're buying fresh food. You're doing what the experts recommend. But while you're congratulating yourself on avoiding the processed junk in the middle aisles, you're spending 3 times what you'd spend on the exact same nutrients. A head of regular lettuce costs $2. But put it in a plastic container, call it spring mix, and display it in the perimeter with good lighting, now it's $6. Same lettuce, different presentation, 3 times the price. The stores have figured out that people will pay premium prices for the illusion of premium quality, and the perimeter is where that illusion lives. Now here's the second force, and this one is particularly cruel because it feels like you're being smart. I call it the unit price trap. You've probably noticed those little price tags on the shelf that show the cost per ounce or per unit. They're supposed to help you compare products and find the best deal. And if you're like most people, you probably feel pretty savvy when you check them. But here's what's really happening. Those unit prices are designed to confuse you, not help you. First, they're not standardized. One product shows price per ounce. The one right next to it shows price per pound. Another shows price per count. Your brain has to do mental math just to compare 2 similar items. And while you're standing there trying to calculate which is actually cheaper, you're burning decision-making energy. Here's what makes this even more insidious. The bigger size almost always shows a better unit price, so you buy the jumbo box of cereal instead of the regular box. You save 30 cents per ounce. You feel smart. But you didn't need the jumbo box. You needed 1 box. Now you've spent $12 instead of $6. You saved on unit price but spent double your budget. And here's the kicker. Studies show that when people buy larger quantities, they consume them faster. So that jumbo box that should last twice as long, it's gone in 10 days instead of 14. The unit price trap makes you feel like you're winning while you're actually spending more and wasting more. It's the grocery store equivalent of a casino making you feel lucky while your wallet gets lighter. The third force is what I call the checkout hostage situation. And this one might be costing you more than everything else combined. Picture this. You've made it through the entire store. You've been disciplined. You stuck mostly to your list. Your cart looks reasonable. You head to checkout feeling pretty good about yourself. And then you wait. 5 people in line ahead of you, each one with a full cart. You're stuck there, tired, hungry, probably running late. And you're surrounded by candy, magazines, energy drinks, gum, beef jerky, and overpriced phone chargers. This isn't an accident. This is called the decompression zone, and it's specifically designed to attack you at your weakest moment. You've been making decisions for the last 40 minutes. Which bread to buy, which brand of pasta, whether you really need that fancy cheese. Every decision depletes your willpower a tiny bit. It's called decision fatigue. And by the time you reach checkout, your resistance is gone. So, you grab a candy bar. Just one. It's only $2. You grab a magazine because you're bored waiting. $4. Your kid asks for something, and you're too tired to argue. Another $3. You see those fancy batteries and remember your TV remote is dying. $8. In 10 minutes at checkout, you've added $17 to a trip where you were trying to save money, and you barely noticed because each item felt small and justifiable in the moment. The grocery store knows that checkout is where discipline dies, so they've turned it into a minefield of impulse purchases, and they're counting on the fact that you're too depleted to resist. Now, let's talk about the fourth force, which I call the discount theater. This is where things get really manipulative. Walk down any grocery aisle and you'll see signs everywhere. Sale, special, save now. 2 for $5. Buy one, get one free. Limited time offer. Loyalty card exclusive. Your brain sees these signs and thinks it's finding deals. But here's the truth. Most of these deals aren't deals at all. They're psychological triggers designed to make you buy more of something you might not need. Let's break down the classic 2 for $5 trick. You see, pasta on sale, 2 boxes for $5. Without the sale, each box is $3. So you're saving $1 if you buy 2. That sounds great, but you only needed 1 box of pasta. You just spent $5 on pasta when you budgeted $3. You didn't save $1, you spent $2 extra. The sale made you spend more, not less. Here's what makes this even sneakier. Studies show that people buy more of an item when it's presented as a multi-buy deal, even when there's no actual discount. You could buy those items individually for the same total price, but the framing tricks your brain. Grocery stores use a tactic called anchoring. They show you a higher price, cross it out, and show you a lower price. Your brain fixates on the difference. You feel like you're winning. But that higher price? It might be completely made up. That item might never have sold for that price. The store just needed an anchor to make the real price feel like a bargain. The worst part? Loyalty cards and apps have taken this to a whole new level. Now stores can track exactly what you buy and when. They can send you personalized deals on items you already buy regularly. You feel special getting a deal on your favorite cereal, but the store knows you were going to buy it anyway. They're not giving you a discount. They're just making you feel valued while you pay the same amount you would have paid. The fifth force is perhaps the most invisible and the most expensive. I call it the convenience tax, and it's bleeding your budget dry without you realizing it. Pre-cut vegetables, pre-shredded cheese, pre-marinated meat, individual yogurt cups, pre-portioned snacks, baby carrots, bagged salad, rotisserie chicken, anything that says ready to eat, or easy, or quick. Every single one of these convenience items costs 2 to 4 times what the raw ingredient costs. But they don't feel expensive because you're not doing math in your head. You're thinking about time. You're thinking about effort. You're thinking about how tired you'll be when you get home. The grocery industry has figured out that modern shoppers will pay enormous premiums for small amounts of convenience, and they're exploiting that ruthlessly. Here's a concrete example. A block of cheese costs $4 and has 16 ounces. A bag of pre-shredded cheese costs $5 and has 8 ounces. You're paying 60% more per ounce for someone to spend 5 seconds shredding cheese. 5 seconds of labor costs you $3. But it gets worse. Those convenience items are usually placed at eye level, in the most accessible spots. The raw ingredients are on the bottom shelf, or in a less convenient location. The store is literally making it harder to choose the cheaper option. The convenience tax extends beyond just pre-prepared items. It includes location convenience too. That gallon of milk at the back of the store? You have to walk past dozens of other products to get to it. The items at the front of the store or at the end of aisles cost more because you'll see them first. You'll grab them impulsively. Even the layout of the store is a convenience tax. Everything is designed to make you walk farther, see more, and get tired enough that paying extra for convenience feels justified. But here's what nobody wants to admit. These 5 forces aren't bugs in the system. They're the system. The modern grocery store is a highly optimized machine designed to separate you from as much money as possible while making you feel like you're in control. And here's what makes this so difficult. You can't just avoid grocery stores. You have to eat. You have to shop. So how do you fight back against a system that's designed by experts to manipulate you? This is where things get really interesting. Because the answer isn't what most financial advice tells you. It's not about willpower. It's not about being smarter or more disciplined. It's about understanding that you're not fighting against prices, you're fighting against psychology. And psychology requires a different approach. Let me tell you about Maria. Maria's been trying to cut her grocery budget for 2 years. She makes a list every week. She checks the sales. She clips coupons. She tries to be disciplined. But every month, she's shocked by how much she's spending. Her budget says $400. Her receipts say $600. She can't figure out where the extra $200 is going. Here's what Maria doesn't realize. She's fighting the wrong battle. She's focused on finding deals and cutting costs. But she's walking into the store completely unprepared for the psychological warfare waiting for her. Maria shops when she's hungry because that's when she has time after work. Hungry shopping makes you buy 30% more. Maria shops without a strict budget number in her head. She just tries to be reasonable. Without a hard limit, reasonable keeps creeping higher. Maria buys the bigger size because the unit price is better, but she doesn't track what she actually uses versus what goes bad. Maria sees a sale on something she uses regularly and stocks up, but she doesn't calculate whether that's actually in this month's budget. Maria grabs convenient items because she's tired and cooking feels overwhelming, but those convenient items are doubling her per meal cost. Here's what makes Maria's situation so common. She's doing everything the traditional advice tells her to do. Make a list, check sales, compare prices. But traditional advice doesn't account for the sophisticated psychological manipulation happening in modern grocery stores. Maria isn't failing because she lacks discipline. She's failing because she's bringing a checklist to a psychological battlefield. Now let me tell you about James. James spends less on groceries than Maria. Significantly less. But he's not eating worse food. He's not spending hours couponing. He's not depriving himself. James does something completely different. He shops like he's defending against a psychological attack. Because that's what it is. First, James never shops hungry. Ever. He eats before he goes. It sounds simple, but this one change cuts his impulse purchases by half. His brain isn't screaming for calories while marketers are trying to sell him calories. Second, James doesn't use a shopping list. He uses a shopping budget. Before he goes to the store, he decides he's spending exactly $75. Not around 75. Not approximately 75. Exactly 75. He keeps a running total as he shops. When he hits 75, he's done. This forces him to prioritize. It eliminates the 200 little decisions that create the, oh, just one more item problem. Third, James ignores all sale signs. All of them. This sounds crazy, but here's his logic. If he needs something, he buys it. If he doesn't need it, it doesn't matter how good the sale is. The best sale in the world on something you don't need is still money wasted. The sale signs are designed to make him buy things he wouldn't otherwise buy. So he pretends they don't exist. Fourth, James only buys raw ingredients. No pre-cut, no pre-shredded, no pre-marinated, nothing convenient. This isn't about being cheap. It's about recognizing that convenience items are a Trojan horse. They make you feel like you're saving time while you're spending double the money. James does his convenience at home. He preps on Sunday. 30 minutes of cutting vegetables saves him $40 a week. Fifth, James shops the same store every time. The same route through the store. The same products. This eliminates decision fatigue. He's not evaluating options. He's executing a plan. His brain isn't depleting willpower on choices. He knows exactly where to go and what to grab. Here's what makes James different. He recognizes that grocery shopping isn't about finding the best deals, it's about defending against manipulation. Every tactic he uses is designed to shut down one of the psychological triggers stores rely on. Here's what most people don't realize. The difference between Maria and James isn't knowledge. Maria knows she should eat before shopping. Maria knows she should avoid impulse buys. Maria knows convenience items cost more. The difference isn't discipline either. James isn't more disciplined than Maria. He's not stronger-willed. He's not better at resisting temptation. The difference is that James understands he's in a psychological battle, and Maria thinks she's just shopping. James sets up systems that eliminate the need for discipline. Maria tries to power through with willpower, and willpower always loses to a system designed to defeat it. It's not actually about groceries at all. It's about understanding that modern retail is psychological warfare. The stores have spent billions of dollars researching how to make you spend more. They know more about your decision-making than you do. They've tested every color, every layout, every scent, every word on every sign. You can't beat that system with a shopping list and good intentions. You need counter strategies. You need to recognize that every moment in that store, someone is trying to manipulate you into spending more money. And the only defense is to remove the opportunities for manipulation. When you stop seeing grocery shopping as a chore and start seeing it as a defense against psychological manipulation, everything changes. The perimeter illusion loses its power when you realize fresh doesn't mean necessary. The unit price trap falls apart when you commit to a hard budget. The checkout hostage situation is eliminated when you have zero budget room left for impulse items. The discount theater becomes obvious when you ignore sales completely, and the convenience tax disappears when you accept that real savings require real effort. The perimeter illusion. The unit price trap. The checkout hostage situation. The discount theater. The convenience tax. These aren't character flaws. They're predictable patterns that can be overcome once you understand them. The question isn't whether you can cut your grocery budget. The question is whether you're willing to admit that you're not just shopping. You're being hunted. And the hunter is very good at their job. The grocery stores will keep getting better at manipulating you. They'll keep optimizing. They'll keep testing. They'll keep finding new ways to make you spend more while feeling smart. But once you see the game being played, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to thinking that checkout line impulse buy was your idea. You can't pretend that sales sign isn't carefully calculated manipulation. You can't ignore that the convenient option is designed to extract maximum profit from minimum value. Your grocery budget isn't out of control because food is expensive. It's out of control because someone is engineering your behavior. And the only way to win is to stop playing their game and start playing your own.